Hello everyone, welcome back to your channel name. Today, we're discussing Europe's renewed interest in Africa. The focus is on the EU's recent announcement of a substantial investment in Morocco, 1.6 billion euros. This financial investment is a part of a bigger plan, the Global Gateway. Today's discussion revolves around why Europe is making this strategic decision and its implications on the geopolitical landscape. Understanding the EU's strategy. Unlike China, which has been a heavyweight in massive investments beyond its borders through the Belt and Road Initiative, Europe hasn't traditionally taken such bold steps. The game is changing. The Global Gateway Plan is a colossal commitment of 150 billion euros earmarked for green energy and digital infrastructure projects across Africa in the next 5 years. This isn't just a financial injection, it's a strategic pivot, a geopolitical chess move by the EU that demands our attention. In an era where influence and power are increasingly tied to economic leverage, Europe is staking its claim on a continent with immense potential. Africa, with its lion economies boasting a collective GDP of about $1 trillion, is becoming a key battleground for global supremacy. China's influence in Africa. China deserves our attention, the dragon in the room. Since 2013, China has been shaping Africa's infrastructure landscape, due to the ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. Consider this. A 2019 map reveals Chinese investments sprawling across the entire continent. Not merely a patchwork, it's a strategic chessboard, with China securing economic footholds and influence. China's presence in Africa is extensive and comprehensive. Railways to ports, China has laid the foundations for economic dominance. The real deal, it's beyond infrastructure. It's a playbook for gaining strategic advantage and economic influence in Africa. China's meticulous investments position it as a fundamental player in the African theater. The railway line from Mombasa to Nairobi, the Addis Ababa-Djibouti rail line, these are not just projects, they're channels for economic influence. The map tells the truth. China has strategically positioned its pieces on Africa's chessboard, reaping benefits. Africa's economic potential. Africa's economic stage is nothing short of extraordinary. The lion economies, 6 African powerhouses, collectively boast a GDP of around $1 trillion. These aren't just numbers, they're the heartbeat of a continent on the rise. By 2025, Africa will be home to more than 100 cities with over 1 million people. Fast forward to 2030, and a whopping 42% of all young people in the world will call Africa home. This isn't just a population, it's a demographic powerhouse, a reservoir of untapped potential. Africa's middle class is on the rise, and it's a game changer. The continent isn't just a market, it's a burgeoning economic force. Ethiopia, for instance, has been sprinting with consistent growth rates between 7 to 10% in the past decade, ranking among the world's fastest-growing economies. In a world where economic prowess translates to geopolitical influence, Africa is emerging as a heavyweight contender. The lion economies are shaping the narrative of Africa's economic ascent. The EU's response, the European response to the dragon's dance in Africa, is next. To counterbalance China's strategic moves, the EU laid out its game plan in a comprehensive strategy document from March 2020. This is not a knee-jerk reaction, it is a calculated response to secure a foothold in Africa's evolving landscape. The EU's goals reveal a clear pattern. It's not just about pouring funds into traditional infrastructure. The EU has a different playbook. They focus on a green transition and digital transformation. An ambitious move that marries environmental stewardship with geopolitical ambitions is evident. The objective is not just about construction, it's about sustainable and strategic building. Criticisms and concerns. Not everyone is standing up to applaud. There are murmurs of dissent. Critics argue that the EU's green agenda might clash with African nations' industrialization aspirations. It's a clash of priorities. Can environmental consciousness align with the industrial dreams of African nations? Some critics are skeptical, questioning whether this EU plan is a revolutionary leap or merely a repackaging of existing programs. Is it innovation or is it déjà vu? These are the questions echoing through the corridors of skepticism. Differentiation from China. The EU is drawing a line in the sand. China dances with loans and debt diplomacy. The EU has a different dance partner. They offer a mix of grants and soft loans with enticingly low interest rates. Financial transactions aren't the only focus. It's a strategic play to win hearts and minds without drowning nations in debt. The president of the European Commission clarifies the EU's unique approach. We're pretty good at financing roads, but it does not make any sense for Europe if we build a perfect road between a copper mine that is Chinese-owned and a harbor that is Chinese-owned. Europe isn't just building roads, it's building a different road, one that doesn't lead to further strengthening of China's position. A new era in international relations. The move by the EU is more than just a financial transaction. It signals a seismic shift to a new era in international relations. Europe, once fully occupied with internal matters, is expanding its influence. The goal is explicit. Europe intends to act as a united political actor on the global stage. In this shift, Europe's engagement with Africa is only part of the story. The main narrative is Europe's emergence onto the world stage with a rejuvenated sense of purpose. As geopolitics undergo transformation, the EU begins to establish its place as a pivotal player in this dynamic interplay of nations. Conclusion and future prospects. Europe's rush into Africa goes beyond mere financial transactions. It's a calculated geopolitical move. The 1.6 billion euros in Morocco and the broader 150 billion euros across Africa are just pieces on the chessboard of a grander strategy. Africa, with its lion economies and growing middle class, is a continent on the rise. China, having laid its groundwork, faces a new player on the stage, the European Union. The geopolitical landscape is shifting and the implications are profound. Will Europe's strategy pay dividends or will it face unforeseen challenges?